Today, Ether jumps back above $1,400. Lawmakers asked the SEC to clarify when the agency's former employees can join crypto firms, and Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian discusses his latest big investment in NFTs. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Jordan Smith. Digital currencies ticking higher today. By noon Eastern, Bitcoin rose to more than $19,500 and Ethereum crossed above $1,400. Meanwhile, Ripple's XRP token dipped slightly to 46 cents. All right, let's talk about the top stories. First, Senator Elizabeth Warren, a longtime crypto critic, and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are among the lawmakers asking regulators to clarify their rules on former employees taking roles in the digital assets industry. In this letter addressed to the SEC Chair Gary Gensler yesterday, the lawmakers pointed to the, quote, increasing number of revolving door hires and asked for clarification as to how long people involved in regulating the crypto industry are banned from being employed in the space. The lawmakers wrote, quote, we are concerned that the crypto revolving door risks corrupting the policymaking process and undermining the public's trust in our financial regulators. We reached out to the SEC, but a spokesperson declined to comment. Next, JP Morgan just hired a new head of digital assets regulatory policy about a month after the company's CEO, Jamie Dimon, slammed crypto as decentralized Ponzi schemes. JP Morgan confirmed the new hire to us today, but did not want to comment further. Aaron Levine joined the financial services firm last week after spending 8 months at bankrupt crypto lender Celsius. Bloomberg Law reported that JP Morgan has been looking to build out its policy ranks in digital assets amid the downturn and increased regulatory scrutiny. In fact, on top of hiring Levine, JP Morgan posted an opening recently for a digital assets counsel position with its corporate and investment bank. Last, Apple is tightening its rules on crypto and NFTs on the App Store. The company clarified its rules on Monday and broke down what apps can do with these technologies. In its updated rules, Apple said that apps can facilitate, quote, transactions or transmissions of cryptocurrency on an approved exchange, but that it can only be offered in regions where it has licensing and permission to operate a crypto exchange. Also, as it pertains to NFTs, apps are allowed to offer services related to them as long as they use Apple's in-app purchases. So what this means is that any kind of trading service of NFTs must use Apple's controversial in-app payment mechanism. Apple takes up to a 30% cut of those in-app purchases. All right, on to our main story. Yesterday, we spoke to Julian Holguin, CEO of Doodles, a company that just raised $54 million at a more than $700 million valuation. That funding round was led by VC firm 776. Well, Crypto World's Tanea McKeel also spoke with Alexis Ohanian, co-founder of Reddit and founder of 776, along with founding partner Katelin Holloway, and they spoke about the investment in Doodles and also what it's like to fund crypto projects in a bear market. Take a listen.
Let's start with Doodles. You led this fundraise, $54 million. I think I read a $704 million valuation. How did you come to that valuation, and why would you say this company is so important to the future of NFTs? And Katelin, let's start with you.
You know, there were a lot of things that attracted us to the Doodles team and what they're building. And I think, you know, at the forefront of that really is this notion of team, community, and then their roadmap, and really the technology behind all of the incredible art that they're producing.
Alexis, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, we've been fortunate to be early investors in 3 really blue chip NFT projects. And with Doodles, you know, this was a competitive round. You know, at the end of the day, we do a bottom up analysis based on revenue, both primary and secondary sales they've made, as well as, I mean, even like a discounted cash flow analysis. I mean, it's hard to do with a business that potentially has secondary sales revenue for all time, which is a nice benefit of the blockchain. But we do our best to go through a valuation process. And then, of course, we got to make sure we win the deal. And credit to Katelin, who's too modest to say so, but you know, absolutely led this thing in the face of some stiff competition and brought it home for us.
What does that revenue or any other metrics that you're looking at on the financial side look like right now, given this bear market? What is it about them that stood apart from the other NFT companies in the space?
Well, the one thing I'll just say to kick it off is we've been in this for a while as well. The first crypto investment I made was 10 years ago, seeding a little startup called Coinbase. And so we've invested through and worked through and built companies through a number of crypto cycles now. And the one thing that is consistent through every single one of them is that these are the times when a lot of the noise is gone. The builders are focused on making things people genuinely love. And this is the time to really focus on pushing the industry forward, bringing on even new people into the world. And we get really excited for the folks who are really exceptional storytellers, brand builders, community builders, and Doodles fit this to a T. And Katelin's coming at this from a Pixar experience that I think is pretty unique and part of the reason she ended up winning the deal.
To answer your question about, kind of what did we see in them? There were so many things. It was layered for sure. But I think, innovation very rarely starts mainstream. It starts with the unique and the intimate, it starts in the communities who it serves. And then it grows and evolves and expands to serve others. And so, I think back on those early Web 2 days where it was like, do you remember when Instagram was just a filter, or when Facebook was a local college forum, or TikTok was just a silly lip sync app? And I think that NFTs are there at that earliest stage. They're really in their infancy. And I think that behind those, silly, colorful JPEGs, there is real and very, very important technology being developed. But, right now, as the world begins their journey through this period of technological change, NFTs are the fastest, easiest, and simply the most joyful way to educate people on what the blockchain really is. I think it's easy to think about the future. That's our job as investors, is to think about how this is really going to evolve and land over time. And when you are at the beginning, the most nascent part of that innovation, you can't just jump to the end and say, okay, gang, we're moving all of your medical records and your mortgage and your credit card debt on over to the chain, y'all. You really have to warm people up, and you have to bring them along with those early fundamentals of what this technology is and what it can do. And for me, I think the thing I love so much about how the Doodles team is doing this is that they're incredibly thoughtful, and truly inclusion is at the very, very heart of everything they're doing.
At the beginning of this year, 776 said it had raised 2 new funds, and you were going to do the majority of your investing in the crypto space. So outside of NFTs and Web3, what are some of the other themes in crypto that you guys are focused on?
It's been infrastructure. In many ways, the sort of picks and shovels behind the bigger themes and trends. If you believe long-term in the value of the space, it's not a bad place to invest. So we seeded a company, QuickNode, which is making it dead simple to spin up a node with a variety of different chains. They've had a ton of success growing right alongside the crypto hype cycle. But even right now, and that's the great thing, all this stuff is quite transparent because it's all on chain. They just had their best month ever. And it just goes to show that even during the winter, or maybe especially during the winter, that's when the builders ship. That's when the builders really start leaning in. And so we've seen success there. Mobile first wallet company Rainbow is another one. Again, user experience above all. How do you create these opportunities for people to actually be delighted by their process, whether it's collecting NFTs or buying in on tokens? And so it's really, I think, if you were to generalize it, we've spent most of our time in the infrastructure space of Web3, or the sort of more consumer community side of it. And so far, so good.
Well, it has been a tough year, not just for crypto. I think for risk assets broadly, definitely. Do you see a specific catalyst or a new emerging use case that realistically, in the short to medium term could turn things around in the market, Alexis?
Oh, I mean, that is the $1 billion question. Undoubtedly, it's going to come. Directionally, as investors, we're actually really bad at predicting the future. We're much better at identifying what we believe to be pretty big themes, talking to a lot of founders who are living it every day and building and talking to users, and then backing them and doing everything we can to help support their vision for what's to come. So I can't say exactly what it's going to be. I know thematically, everyone who was exposed to NFTs in this last hype cycle is pretty tech savvy, right? Just about everyone who is already kind of leaned in on the early adopter side of technology has now at some point been exposed to it and made the decision one way or another whether it's for them. And I really believe this next wave is going to be much more inclusive, and to Katelin's point earlier, much broader and much bigger in order to be successful. And this is why I think a lot of the underlying technology is going to fade into the background. The reason why people are going to get excited is going to look more like, utility in terms of access to events or community or culture or content or things that are explainable in a sentence or two, and with a user experience that's elegant enough that, you can onboard with a credit card if you need to, or maybe not even need one at all. And it's really going to define what I hope is the future of Web3, which is one that, is not mired in homogeneity, because at the end of the day, it's never going to be as successful as we want it to be if everyone who's excited about it looks like me.
Alexis, you make a lot of very fair points that we discuss a lot internally here at the firm. And yeah, I wish I had that crystal ball. But I think for me, specifically as it relates to NFTs and Web3 companies specifically, I'm actually, and this might be a hot take, it might not be, I don't know. But I think that the very fact that regulators are showing up right now and they're starting to put some rails in place, I think that that's really, really exciting. I may not know and like all of them, but I think the very fact that they are showing up says something. And I think that the beauty of being a builder on the bleeding edge of technology is that you get to help write some of these rules. And I think I get great joy from understanding that, we're playing in the very same sandbox as, not only these regulators, but, a JPEG that's puking rainbows. I think that sends a very, very clear message that this technology is here to stay. So I'm excited that the regulators decided to show up to the party.
All right, that's all for Crypto World today, but we'll be back again tomorrow, so we'll see you then.